Okay, so now we're diving into point number 4 here. This is one of my favorite parts. Insights, audience insights, and just plain old insights into the posts that you've made. My daughter laughs at me about this part, and she tells me I'm doing snoop a lot when I get to insights. So think about this as the snoop a lots component of what we're doing this afternoon. We are snooping, but we're snooping in a positive way. We're trying to get to know our audience more. We want to get to know the audience, and we want to get to know what resonates with them the most. And Facebook gives us these two fantastic tools around insights that make it really easy to do that. So back over in insights. Now, one of the things I want y'all to do right now, if you haven't already, is I want you to pull up your own Facebook page. So everybody who's got a Facebook page already, pull it up, because I want you to walk through this step by step with me. Jacqueline, I see your question about FASO, and I'll answer that in just a few minutes when we get to the next end of the next section. So everybody got their Facebook page up? Got a Facebook page up? Good. So when you go to your page, the first thing that I want to look at is the page itself. I want to go to the insights that are on the page right over here. Oops, I shared the wrong thing. Let me share again. See if I can make it go the right direction here. There we go. Maybe. There, it's catching up with me slowly. So can everybody see my Facebook page? I hope. Let me know yes if you can. Good. Okay. So when you click the More button here, go to Insights. And what you'll see, first part you'll see is just the statistics from your page. It's the page summary. And if you really get down into the weeds on data, you can export that. Not something most people need to worry about right now. So you want to go down here first to looking at your posts. So we're going to look for the things that resonate the most. As we begin to look tomorrow at which things to choose for ads, you want to look at the types of things that people respond to better than others. And Facebook gives you the data right here to see how people are engaging. When you have high engagement on a post organically, you know that it's going to do well when you put money behind it. A post that's doing badly organically is not ever going to do well when you put money behind it. This is why the strategy that I teach for doing ads is based on working from your organic posts. That way, you know already that it's going to resonate, and you have what we call social proof, which means people have already engaged with it. And Facebook already has it in the system, so you're going to get greater reach that way. So when I look at the kind of posts that I've made here that are just, for example, awareness posts, like the ones about the mountain calling, or the moment my legs begin to move, the creativity jumpstart, number 1. All of those are just awareness posts. I'm just trying to talk to people. Some of them have questions that ask for a response, but some don't. These don't. Then some are engagement posts like this one that asks people to tell me something. They're conversation starters. Both of these are. And you can see a conversation starter is a really good way to build engagement. Surprise, when you ask somebody to participate in a conversation, you get a lot of reach and a lot of engagement. So engagement is a combination of all of those like buttons, responding to those, commenting and sharing. It's liking, commenting, and sharing put together. And you can see that, and I split it up here between post clicks and reactions. So if there's a link for them to click, or if they click on it to see more, all of those count as post clicks. So the one I made today hasn't gotten to as nearly as much juice as, say, the one I asked a question on. Excuse me for a second. I had to grab a sip of water. So you can begin to see what kind of things resonate. Quote graphics always work super well in conversation starters on Facebook. They don't necessarily work as well on Instagram, but they work great on Facebook. People love to respond to those. And those just perform the function of getting people to know me to know them, and to begin to feed that algorithm. So if I were trying to decide which one of these two, for example, I'll get my annotation tool here again, between, this one, it should be giving me the tool and it's not. Sorry, I was trying to draw and couldn't do it. That one and this one, or actually not that one, but this one right above it, then I'm going to look to see which one has the most engagement. I'm not going to spend money on something that gets less engagement. So I posted them about the same time of day, so it's not time of day. This one has a reach of almost 6,000, and this one stuck at about 3,000. So I should not put money behind this one. I should put money behind this one. So this is where insights on your page are so powerful. You can see which posts are resonating the most with your audience. And you can see here, I have two separate distinct audiences. And there's some overlap there, but I have the collector's audience and I have the potential student members audience. And most of y'all will end up having those same two different audiences. So I want to tell the audience which one I'm talking to. That's why I said here, happy Monday, y'all. Artists out there. I'm not talking to collectors there. I'm talking to artists. So call out the audience that you want to use. And people who are kind of stalkerish right there, call out that audience and let them know you're talking to them. I wouldn't go collectors, you people out there, because that gets a little weird, but call people out by what you want them to, how you want them to respond. Yeah, Lisa, so that at the initial stage, at the very initial stage of the customer journey, when you're talking about awareness and engagement, you're not trying to sell anything. You're trying to create a warm audience so that when you sell something, that you have people already aware of who you are. What most people do is they just post it to their website, post their artwork to their website, and sit back and wait. And then they're upset and hurt when nobody comes and buys. Well, that's because nobody's looking at your website. You've got to bring the traffic to your website. Nobody's looking at your art until you put it in front of them. Nobody knows it's for sale until you tell them it's for sale. Nobody wants to buy from you until they get to know you. So you've got to go all the way through that whole customer journey. And each one of the posts, dadgummit, he's persistent. Each one of the posts needs to fulfill one part of that customer journey. So think about, going back to Jacqueline's question earlier about, putting those up. Think about making 3 posts over 3 days, 4 days, however long, that are just awareness, that are just talking about what's important to you, why you make art, how you make art. And then make 3 posts that are engagement posts. And we're all organic right now. Then we're going to decide which ones we're going to turn into ads. But organically do it first. So when we're looking at mine right here, Then what we have first, I'm going to mark the ones that are awareness as awareness. So this one is awareness. Then this one is awareness. Then this one is engagement. I'm asking them to give me a response. This one is awareness. This one is engagement. This one right here is conversion. I'm asking them to go look at something on my website. It's really kind of a micro conversion, but I'm beginning to advertise Paint Camp right there. This one right here is another one of those where I'm asking people to go check out a sales page. This one is somewhat of that. This one right here, engagement. Engagement. So if you were looking at the order to do these in, when you're first starting out, that would be first, then this would be second, and this would be third and fourth. Does that make sense, Lisa? So the ads, when you make ads out of those posts, and that's really the heart of what we're talking about doing, is making ads out of organic posts. When you make ads out of those, then you are following that same pattern. Yeah, not too soon. Don't do it too soon. Most people ask for money way too soon. Way too soon. So one of my mentors, I'll give you a really good example. One of my mentors right now is getting ready to launch one of his courses. It opens for enrollment on Monday. His runway for that, for the sale of that, and it's an expensive course, but the runway that he creates through social media and his podcast goes out 3 months. So that runway before a big sale is really long. It doesn't have to be that long. It can be as short as 6 days, but it's easier to sell something that costs more if you have a longer runway. So does that make sense? You really are selling all the time. It's just some of it's not obviously sales content. Yeah, 3 months is a good pre-launch time for books as well. It's a standard pre-launch time. So the runway is the pre-launch, and think of awareness and engagement as pre-launch. And then conversion is your launch list, and then the actual close is card open. So that's the structure there, whether there's money behind that or not. So let's look really quickly here back at the customer journey, because I think it's a good thing to keep that top of mind. And if you haven't made a note of this or taken a screenshot of it yet, I want you to do that right now. Let me share that again. So screenshot this, because this customer journey happens whether you're using money or not. This is how you make a sale. It's going through this process. And advertising effectively, whether you're on Facebook or Instagram or print media, happens when you follow the customer journey and put money behind it. That's all the system is. It's really quite simple. Follow the customer journey and amplify it with money. That's good advertising strategy. So I hope that makes sense. Everybody got a screenshot of that if you haven't already? Make sure you've got those 4 stages imprinted on your brain. So when we go back over to insights. Yay, I'm glad that is making sense, Clarice. Yeah, if I get too deep into the weeds, stop me if y'all have a question, because I don't want to be confusing. So make sure that if you have a question, you raise your hand and I'll let you talk, or pop it into the chat roll. So feel free to stop me as we're going through. So when you're looking at the ads, you want to choose the ones that have the most engagement already. That's a good thing to use these insights for. Now, another part of insights, go back here, besides the page summary, and it'll give you your last 5 posts, is down here, is pages to watch. So pages to watch lets you compare the performance of your page and your posts with similar pages on Facebook. It was broken for a little while here, and it was so sad when it was broken because it meant you couldn't see as many insights. So what you can see when you put pages into the Snoop-A-Lot section here, the pages to watch, is that you get the total number of page likes, which is a vanity metric to a certain extent. You get the number of posts from the previous week, how much they've gone up or down. That's the number of likes from the previous week, the number of posts from the previous week, and their engagement. Now, I've got some related parallel industries in here. I watch Paulo Coelho's page because he's a master, an absolute master of personal brand marketing. He's got 29 million followers. The Architecture and Design magazine has 31 million. And looking at that's where a lot of our markets are, is people who are reading Architecture and Design, people who are going to the Artsy website or to the Saatchi Art website. You want to know what's appealing to those people. So what you can learn from that in these parallel kind of industries, let's look at the Architecture and Design. They had 250 posts last week. That's a lot more than the 3 to 5 that I talk about you needing to do. They've got staff that run that. You're not going to be able to do that necessarily. And they're posting stuff like this, which doesn't have a whole lot of architecture, but it's a great engagement post. When you look down, you see they have 4,000 comments and 3,500 shares. This is your kitten puppy post. So yes, post that kitten studio pet or the golf ball dropping bird. Y'all can share that from my page. You can borrow it if you want it, because it's hilarious. It's addictive. But those kind of posts make you more human, and they feed the algorithm. The fact they got 3,500 shares on that means that the next time they post something about architecture, about an article, it's going to get shared a whole lot more. So yeah, it's goofy, but it absolutely resonated. Oops, I didn't mean to close that yet. And that was their top posts from the week. They've got several of these fuzzy posts. Then here is another one that's more of it's a more direct engagement post. They've got links on here, and it's not even to their own. You'll notice that a lot of times the content on big pages is not all about them. And we need to do that too. So if you're going to post more than 3 to 5 times a week, post content that's not all about you. Maybe make it about 50-50. Post things that your followers would find interesting. So here they've posted something that a lot of people enjoy doing as a summertime activity with children. You know, making a hand casting as a family activity. They know their audience really well. They know what's going to appeal to their audience. Now we get down to what we thought we'd probably see on every post, which is the architecture. And more of these engagement type posts. So looking at the type of posts that people respond to becomes really important in figuring out what kind of posts you need to make. So I think it's super important to notice that the top posts on there are fuzzy critters, and they don't have a whole lot of copy on there, do they? It's just pure engagement, audience awareness. It's getting people to come to your page and share stuff. So really good to look at the big guys. When we look at Paulo Coelho, he didn't make any posts last week, and he still had 72,000 engage. Well, that's because he had people engaging with previous posts, and that throws those posts back up into other people's feeds. So when you're big enough, you don't necessarily have to post. Artsy had 59 posts last week. Now, I think following some of these bigger art websites is really useful because you can see the kind of posts that resonate with collectors, because most of the people who are following Artsy are collectors. Some are artists, but most are collectors. And that gives you an idea of what kind of post to make. So here they are posting these are link posts to their blog posts. Almost all of theirs are that, and they still get a good deal of reach and a good deal of resonance, but I think they would get more if it wasn't always about them. 7 comments is not nearly as many as the Architecture and Design magazine, which posts other things besides their own blog. So when you focus too much just on yourself, people get bored. So make sure it's not all blog posts about you, but that you talk about other stuff too. So here's one of those where they pull it in from CNN talking about another artist, and their engagement goes up. And they go back to talking about themselves, and their engagement goes down, and the number of comments goes down. So I think it's very, very helpful to follow a couple of those in the pages to watch. Then follow friends and peers. So Nancy Medina is another artist who teaches online and has a big online following. She's also a member of our free Facebook group and our membership site. She's a fantastic person. Nancy is very socially savvy on the internet. So if you follow her, you'll get a grand idea of how to build an absolutely raving fan base. She has fans who just adore her. She features her dogs in almost every post. She has many that are link posts, but part of the reason she can do that is that she has this huge following of absolutely rabid fans. Notice she has 59 comments on here, and she has a much smaller page following than, say, Artsy. It's because she makes it more human, and what she says on her posts it's not all about her. So for example, in this one, she's talking about her dogs. She's going to sit on the floor and take the picture, and she wants the dogs to go stand somewhere over there. And she talks about pug life all the time. So she is a fantastic artist to follow. I'd highly recommend that you do that. I think she does a really, really good job of balancing the give, ask, the jab, 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 right hook. So look at this one. She's not asking for anything. She's just building awareness. But because she's got a fantastic image there, she's got 23 shares. Then on this one, she's asking people to go shop. But notice how she does it in a very soft way. She talks about the painting, why she painted it. She tells you the title, the size, the medium, and includes the link. Notice there's none of that, buy my art now. It's a very soft ask, a soft sell. So highly recommend that you follow her. Nicholas Wilton is another good artist to follow for that, and Art to Life is his art online business. The Savvy Painter is another artist to look at. She has a podcast, also teaches online. Ruth Shearing also does both of the above, as do most of the artists that I follow on there. It's a good idea to follow some more people in a parallel industry. Now, I streamlined mine a couple of weeks ago when Pages to Watch wasn't working. so that I could see more of the people that I had put in there. So I'm going to add a couple of them back that I was following. There we go, Pentatonics. Because they have another big page, and they're musicians, and they handle social media beautifully. So we'll add them, and trying to think of another, maybe another musician would be good. Oh, who's a big rock star right now? I'm trying to think of, here we go. You want to follow Beyonce or somebody like Beyonce. These are probably not Beyonce, not the real Beyonce. I would guess this is the real Beyonce. Maybe not. I have to look, check the pages to see. But one of the reasons to follow somebody like Beyonce is that she is a master of social media and does a fantastic job of using social media to grow her brand. Here's the actual one. So we'll watch that page. And the data shows up as soon as you add them in. So then I can go and look at Beyonce's best post for the week. And notice she includes just a hashtag or two, which is a good idea. Posting too many hashtags, Facebook doesn't like. And she's gotten almost 3,500 shares. So follow some popular artists in other art fields who handle social media really well. And come back and check it often to see what kind of posts people are making. So that's the insight stuff you can get directly in your page insights. The second kind of insights come from your ads manager. And if you click on here and go to all tools, you want to go to audience insights. And I know the two things sound really similar, but they're very, very different. They're both insights. They're both giving you data and analytics, but they're coming at you from different ways. So the page insights tell you how well your page is performing. They tell you which posts are performing well, what kind of engagement you have, and you can get a lot of data from there. But there are two things that you can find in audience insights that you can't find in page insights. These are where you dive into the audience itself. So first, look at the people who are connected to your page. And click on that, then add your page in. And for some reason, it's not showing. I'm having trouble with that. I think it's because of my ads manager being separate. So when it's connected to my people who are connected to my page, I can then look at demographics. I can get more insight into my peeps. I can know what they want, what they like, what they hope for, what they dream of, where they are in life, what their fears are, what their concerns are. So, and you can get a lot of that just from this page. So I can get an idea that most of the people who are following me are women, and that they're in the age range of predominantly 45 to 70, somewhere along in there. And that most of them are married. Most of them have been to college. Not unusual for people who are following an artist. Then I can also look at what most of them have as a jobs title. So I can see that I appeal to fewer people who are in IT, but more people who are in education or the arts or in management, interestingly, or in community social services. Those are people industries. So I don't think it's unusual that an artist's work would appeal to people industries. So Jacqueline says, how does Facebook know or find the demographics? Well, it knows it because Facebook assigns an ID number to everybody who joins Facebook, and they track what that ID number has. So we have, and this is where you don't want to play those stupid Facebook games. You know, that Facebook aging app, don't do any of those things because it gives Facebook too much data. I like to balance how much data I give to Facebook. They get it through watching, through noticing what your job is, and people put that information in there. They know your age because you give your birthday. They end up knowing a good deal about your buying habits if you buy off of Facebook. So that they get a lot of information on there. Google Analytics can give the same data. This is why the Cambridge Analytica thing was such a huge big deal, because Facebook has so much data on us. I suspect they have more than they reveal too. So it's really important to handle that data ethically. That goes back to GDPR. It's kind of outside the scope of today, but you do need to handle data ethically. So I can look, I can't see who's in arts, I can't see who's in education or libraries, but I can tell that more people are in arts and entertainment than almost anything else. So I get an idea of kind of the flavor of how I want to angle things from that. Then I can also tell, and this I think is more important, you know, people in old advertising, the old kind of advertising, focused heavily on demographics, age, location, job title, money, income bracket, all that kind of stuff. That's one thing. What's more important is psychographics, because people buy based on emotion. So looking at what they like and what they do is way more important than where they're located and their age. So looking at page likes, and a lot of this is skewed for my art followers. When I look here, I can see what they're interested in, and this becomes really useful information for targeting. So for example, if those pages are big enough, and probably none of them are, but I can group them together, you can actually target the followers of other pages. So if I know that most of my followers are following the plein air convention, for example, if they have enough followers, I can target that page in my advertising, and I can reach people who don't necessarily know me. So I can reach other people who are like the followers I already have. So knowing where my followers hang out makes it easier for me to go find more people like them. I can see, when I get further down, that they also like art news and hyperallergic, which means I probably want to share some blog posts from art news and hyperallergic because it's going to appeal to my audience. So if you're wondering what pages to share stuff from that are not just from yours, look at your audience insights, because your people will tell you what they like to look at. The Naturalist Notebook seems like a natural fit for somebody who paints landscape. Anne Lamott as an author makes lots of sense to me because she writes a lot about creativity. And she writes a lot about the natural world. So it's going to appeal to both of my audiences. So you get some psychographics just by looking at their likes, at the things that they're clicking like on while they're on Facebook. Looking at their activities, you can see how much they're online. And a lot of us like a lot of pages. Most of my followers only like about 3. And they comment, but not a whole lot. So when they comment, it means a whole lot. And I definitely need to respond. If people only comment 29 times across Facebook in 30 days, that means that every comment they make is important. So I need to respond to those. they don't share a whole lot. So when they do share, again, it's important. So knowing what they do is hugely important. Even more important, down here, you can see what devices people usually access Facebook with. And this is incredibly important. Most of my followers are accessing via mobile. Now that's gone down a little bit. Not sure why, but when I make ads, they need to look good on mobile because most of my people are looking at it on mobile, not on desktop. So it's really important to look at how your followers look at you so that you can make sure what you're doing looks good for them. So this looks really skewed to me, up 84% for desktop and mobile. Something's weird right there. But most of my followers are accessing me through an iPhone. Really important stuff to remember. So that when you make ads, make sure you gear them towards the mobile if you've got similar activities in your audience. Then you can make even more interesting, yeah, that's my ID. You can make even more narrow selections here. So I can go people who are connected to me, and I can then go by country. Right now it's just showing the US. I can add in Canada and watch the numbers change. And I can add in the United Kingdom and watch the numbers change. So you can see how things shift according to place and get a little bit of insight just into how being in different places impacts how your audience watches you. Cool beans, huh? You can get a lot of insight there. But my favorite one is the page likes there. So you can actually save audiences here. It's one way to create custom audiences. When you search, I can do my English speakers. You can create a search here and narrow it down, save it, and then use that in targeting later. That's one kind of custom audience that you can create. We're going to talk about some others in a minute. So I can also go back to, my mouse is not working really well, so I'm going to have to go back this way. You can also, in Audience Insights, get more general. So we can explore people who are on Facebook. Oh yeah, it's fun to dive into it, Teresa. It's a great rabbit hole to go down. So here, this is where we can really get some interesting stuff. So remember those pages that we just looked at that other people liked? Remember people liked the plein air convention, for example. So if I want to get some insights into who's following the plein air convention, I can go down here to interests and let's see if they'll come up. Usually, if the page is big enough, you're going to get it right here. Let's go to a magazine. Here's a magazine that I know my followers. Yeah, Garden and Gun magazine. So I can look at the demographics of the people who follow Garden and Gun magazine. So all of those pages to watch that I created in the page insights, I can also go over here to interests, and if they're big enough, I can get their demographic data and their page likes over here. I can get so much more info. And I can see here that most of the people who follow Garden and Gun are really in the 45 to 65 year range. And that they're real similar in demographics to mine. Job titles are pretty similar too, lots in management. And when I look at page likes, this is where the gold comes, because this is another place that I can look for potential audiences. So I can look at people who like Fresh Market and Whole Foods, people who like Williams and Sonoma, people who like the Kentucky Derby, people who like the Bitter Southerner, Saturday Down South, and it's a Southern thing, and Farmer's Almanac. All are more likely to fall into my potential audience. So if I'm trying to find a cold audience to target that are not familiar with me yet, then here's where I can find some of those peeps to target. So I can create an audience, and let's say I'm going to make them, 35. Oh, it's not letting me pick it. Darn. I'm going to make it 25 just because my mouse works better with that right now. And to Annie for the moment. And so it's 25 to any age who are interested in Garden and Gun. And I can save that. See here where it says create an audience? I can save that as an audience. And I can use that when I'm writing an ad. So I can keep going down here. If I want to make it more specific, I can. But I can save this little sucker. Where's my save button? I can save this and use it as an audience later. And my save button has disappeared. I think it's where I need to scroll, and I can't scroll because of my mouse. I'm probably looking right up. Save. Duh, Mary. I'm going to save this as Garden and Gun. 25 and up. So this is going to be available in the audiences section in my ads manager. So I can target those peeps later. If I want to look at something that's similar and related, the Bitter Southerner might be a good thing. Whole Foods might be another one. So if I target Whole Foods, here's Whole Foods page. And I'd be willing to bet a lot of my clients and customers shop at Whole Foods. If I want to target Whole Foods, then over in the interests, let's get rid of that one and type in Whole Foods. Then I can, and you see how big a market they've got. That's an audience of 2 million people, 3 million on Facebook. That's huge. So I could, again, keep the same age range, and I could make that an audience if I wanted to. So you can find a new audience through creating a custom audience within Audience Insights. Awesome sauce is what it is. Another good one, look at home decor. So there's some key areas for artists where you want to look at Audience Insights. Look at design and architecture magazines. Look at, I call them theme magazines. Garden and Gun caters to a specific niche, Southern culture. My paintings are very much about place, and I write about Southern culture a lot, so it's a natural niche fit. If you make paintings of horses, it might be an equestrian magazine that would be the one that you would want to look at to lead off of some other things. So this is a really good place to do some research here. So you can build up these parallel industries, design magazines, theme magazines and media sites, other retailers in parallel industries. You can think about what kind of music those people listen to. So people who are on, let's get rid of this and go back to Garden and Gun for just a second. So people who read Garden and Gun and like that page, Jimmy Buffett, one of their favorites, and Chris Stapleton. So I could do people who follow Jimmy Buffett. I could create an audience that way. Musicians, interior designers, home decor is a biggie because that's a huge market. People who are reading home decor magazines are looking to redecorate their house or are redecorating their house. So targeting people who are reading that is a natural for people who are artists. So think about looking at some of those. Y'all getting some ideas there? One of the things, I'm giving y'all homework now. So homework for tomorrow is I want everybody to find 5 things to follow, 5 pages to follow on their insights. And then I want you to go to audience insights and research them to find some markets there that you can explore to pull in some cold audiences to warm them up through awareness ads. But you got to find those first. So I want you to do some exploration and go down that rabbit hole tonight and explore what's out there. Find 5 different pages to follow in Page Insights, and then type them into Audience Insights so you can get some more information and data. So if I wanted to go after some more of those people who like Garden and Gun, I could go, Bitter Southerners, kind of a progressive Southern media outlet. And I could go to the Bitter Southerners page and begin interacting with the Bitter Southerner. And I'm going to find more audience members, and people are going to become more familiar with me. It's another way you can take that and pursue it deeper to find your audiences. So the last thing on our agenda today, and I know I'm going to wear y'all out after 3 hours, so I'm aware of time here, is, let me get back to our agenda for the day, was creating custom audiences. Well, I'll show you how to create one in Audience Insights. Does anybody have any questions about creating one from Audience Insights? Any big questions there? You will probably have some after playing with it tonight. So play with it tonight. Even if you're just setting up your Facebook page, you can find all of this data in there. It is just amazing stuff. It's super, super interesting. I love to know what my audience is interested in, what other artists they follow, what other things they find fascinating. It means that you can speak to them more clearly. So our last topic for today is creating custom audiences. We just did the first kind. The second kind means that you're going to go to audiences right here. See, there's one right there that I just created. You can also get more information on audiences over on, where was that? I was just there earlier. On analytics, you can get more information on audiences as well. But we're going to go here. And this is one that I just created. Not sure where all the others are hidden. Oh. That was on my personal account. Here's my business account. That's why it looked weird. About to have a panic attack going. Where'd my audiences all go? So I'm a big fan of custom audiences, and that it's at the heart of the ad system that I use and that I teach. So if you're using the organic system and you're building it up from existing page posts, existing videos, existing material and content that people have interacted with, you want to implement using custom audiences. And there are 3 that you can create as soon as you have a website, as soon as you have a Facebook page, and as soon as you begin to make a post. So first one is website visitors. So you can see here, I created one that's website visitors in the past 90 days. And then you can see that it's populated over here. Now that's not everybody who's been to my website, it's everybody from within a certain demographic. So you can specify the demographic, the location rather, of people who are going into that custom audience. Then the next one is people who are followers of your page, and people who like your page, and people who are friends of people who like your page. And those are really easy audiences to create. You actually don't have to create a custom audience for those. Then you want to create a custom audience around page engagement. So this one, second one, is simply everybody who is engaged with my Facebook page, and you can specify the number of days up to 365 days. So that's the second one, people who've engaged with your page, people who've engaged with your website. Then you can get really specific about people who've engaged with your video content. So you'll see down below, for example, here I have one, this is a video I did a while back, months back, 4 months ago. 25%, people who watched 25% of a video, and it was about choosing your own success path in art. And so people who watch a fourth of a video are pretty interested in that topic. And so that's going to be a good, healthy custom audience to look at. They're going to be probably people who are artists, people who are looking at becoming more successful as artists. Now, because I created that audience 4 months ago, 5 months ago, it is not going to be real large anymore, because what happens, I haven't driven traffic to it in a long time, and Facebook rolls people out of the audience over time. So this is not a static audience. It's the people who have fit that description over however many days you've designated, the time period you've designated. So if it's over a year, for example, on engaging with my page, they're not going to be in that audience anymore, even if they engaged with my page 366 days ago. They'll roll out. So people only stay in there temporarily. This one right here is a video that I did and promoted through ads. So it's got a higher engagement rate and a higher size. I stopped that ad a while back. So it's slowing down now, but people who watch 25% of that video go into this audience. This one goes to a specific web page. So the first 3 I want you to do are any visitor to your website. Second one is to anybody who engages with your business page. And then third type is to start going after video views, people who've watched a certain amount of your videos, which means you have to do videos, and people who have gone to specific pages once you're really beginning to narrow down your targeting a lot. So that's an engagement ad I run, and this is how many have gone there in the last 180 days, who've clicked the link and actually gone to the website, not just read the post. So that's an overview of what you can do with them. Those 3 types, the website, page, video, specific video post, and specific website page. Facebook's making some changes around how they store data for what people do on Facebook and on the web. And people have been able to opt out for a long time. There's a lot of meltdown in the online marketing world around this. I think it's a good thing, not a bad thing. So people have more control over what data Facebook saves. If you don't want Facebook to track you as you make your way around the web, you can opt out of that. You've been able to opt out of it for a long time, but you can opt out of it. So then you won't get retargeting ads that show you the Lamborghini that you just looked at yesterday because you had a wild hair and looked at a Lamborghini on a website. Those retargeting, that pixel, Facebook pixel, is what tracks you. So you can tell the Facebook pixel not to track you anymore. And that makes marketers melt, but it really shouldn't, because people who don't want to be tracked are going to go for the organic stuff anyway. And if you're still doing a good job organically, they'll still find you. So it just affects people who are less involved, less addicted to being followed in advertising. I don't think very many people are actually going to opt out. Very few really will. To create an audience, and I'm going to create one, click custom audience, and you will get choices. It'll ask you for the source. So this is where Facebook's going to go to get that information. You can do website traffic. Most of y'all don't have an app, so we don't need to worry about app activity, and you don't need to worry about online because that gets too complicated yet. Most of you probably don't have a big customer file to upload, but if you have an email list already, you can upload a CSV file of people who are active on your email list, not people who've unsubscribed, but people who are active on your email list. Facebook will match up that email to people who are members of Facebook, and you can create a custom audience from your email list. It's a little bit more fancy audience. You don't need to worry about that right now, but those of you who've done a little bit of advertising, this might be something you want to do. Super important, do not upload people who've unsubscribed. That violates terms of service on Facebook, and it's an ethical violation. If somebody's unsubscribed, you shouldn't be sending advertisements to them. So don't upload people who've unsubscribed. I've heard people suggest that you should upload people who've unsubscribed and then target them with ads to get them to come back to subscribe. Don't do that. It's not good. It violates Facebook's terms of service, and it's an unethical thing to do marketing-wise. You can also use Facebook sources. So you can use video, and that's any video that you've run. You can do your Facebook page. If you've done an event, like if you did a webinar and set it up as an event, you can target people who attended via the event page. You can target people who said they were going to your gallery opening if you did that. You can target people who interact with your Instagram profile. So let's do, for today's sake, let's go with a video. And I can look for people who've viewed a certain percentage. I don't think it's worth it. When a video is really a longer one, you want to go with a shorter amount of time, but you really want people who've watched it. Getting an audience of people who've watched 3 seconds of a video is not a real quality audience. So you want to pick people who've watched more of it. Then you can choose the videos from your page. So I have, for example, a video here that I did announcing Paint Camp, and I can create an audience around that, and I can make that a little bit shorter. I can make the last 30 days and give it a title. That they've watched 25% in 30 days. Give that title, the name, as much info as you can so that you can see what it is when you're doing it. And then just click Create Audience, and it'll slowly populate that. It can take a little while to do that. That's all you have to do. Then to create one around website traffic, I can pick everybody who goes to my website, or I can pick, which would be all website visitors in the last 30 days, or I can go to a specific page so that everybody is really easy to set up. But if you've got a specific page, you want to say the URL contains part of a page in the last 30 days, and I can name that and then it'll create an audience of everybody who's visited that page. So you can go general and you can go specific. Then you can also create an audience of everybody who's interacted with your Instagram page. So everybody who's engaged with it, anybody who's visited the profile, anybody who's engaged with a post or an ad. You don't get as many choices with Instagram, but you can get an awful lot. And you can get anybody who's saved a post or an ad, and they do that on Instagram, not as much on Facebook. So I can go with everybody, and I can call it, let me go back to this one. So I can get everybody, I don't think that's going to be really huge. Instagram profile audience, people who've gone and checked out my profile. They're more engaged. So have fun, and it's going to show as being below 1,000 automatically at the beginning, even if it was an audience of 10,000, because it takes a while for those to populate. Let those populate, and then you can use those in ads. So that all of those audiences are at different stages. People who have visited my page, who've engaged with my page, that's awareness. Then people who visited my website, that is engagement to conversion. Then people who visited that sales page, that goes to conversion to closing. So you can see how those audiences fit into different stages of the customer journey. So I want you to think about setting up some custom audiences as well. So to reiterate your homework for tomorrow to play around with, even if you're not going to be able to come back for the live tomorrow, I want you to find 5 pages to follow for your page insights. I want you to do some snooping in audience insights on those pages to get more info about what their audiences are like. So make sure you pick big pages. Even create a custom audience from those. Then go to audiences and create custom audiences in there of people who visit your website, people who visit your Instagram, and people who've interacted with one of your videos if you've got a video. So everybody has some stuff that they can create, and everybody's at a different spot. So don't be overwhelmed if somebody is further down the path or the road than you are on setting up Facebook ads or Instagram ads. Everybody is where they need to be right now. Just figure out what your next step is. So Jacqueline has a great question. Where do you set up a business page on Instagram? So I can show you that because I have my iPad plugged in. Let me reshare here, Jacqueline. You can have a personal profile on Instagram and a business profile on Instagram. And when you're creating that, if you want to convert what the personal one you already have to business, that's what I did. It's perfectly all right to do that. And it's a relatively easy process. Oh, I know why it's being slow to share. My iPad's gone to sleep. Sorry. You wake it up and then it'll share. There it goes. And I'm going to go to Instagram. Come on, Instagram. Okay, on Instagram, if you have a personal page, you're going to want to go to settings. So go to click the little person button down at the bottom. And then when you get over here, make sure I tell you to go to the right place. I have to look at my thing. I can't talk and do it the other way. Where did settings go? You want to go to settings, and then you can, if you want to create a new account, you can just click under your name, that arrow, and you can click add a new account. So if you wanted to create a personal account, you already have a business one. If you want to create a second business one, you do it that way. If you have a personal one that you want to roll over, click settings down here at the bottom, and there'll be an option to convert your personal account to a business account. It takes 2 seconds, literally. And it's not going to show on mine because mine is already a business account. So that's all you have to do, Jacqueline, is to convert one that's already here. If you want to create one, log into Instagram, or just go to the Instagram page or the app and add account. And so you will log in that way. Don't have an account, you just click sign up, and you'll create a username. That username is your handle, so it should be your name, or your name and art, or your name and studio. Preferably the same thing you're already using on Facebook. And the prompts will walk you through that, the entire process there. So that's all you have to do there. Hope that helps. Anne says, how long does it take something you posted on business Instagram to show up on the Facebook business page? Well, that's not going to happen unless you set it up in the settings. It's almost instantaneously. So you're going to have to create that loop here in the settings. So you need to link your business account. So you need to link your account to your Facebook page. And I already have mine linked, so it's not going to show on here. But again, when you go to settings, it'll prompt you to link your Facebook page, your business page, to your Instagram business page. And then when you make a post, and I'm going to make a quick post so that you can see that. Let's see if I can find an image really fast, and one that I can delete later. So I make a post. Don't put filters on your artwork. And I'm going to put a caption on here in case somebody sees it. And I'll show you how to delete it too. Then I'm going to click OK. Now, because I have mine linked, my business and my personal linked, I think I can do this without actually posting it. Down here towards the bottom, you see where it says Facebook. That's where you do it, Anne. And that button has to be blue. And if you want it to automatically do it, you save that. And then it'll automatically share. It'll also automatically share to Twitter if you have your Twitter account linked to it. So that's how you do it automatically, and it's almost instantaneously. So double check it. If it's not showing up, double check that. And I'm going to cancel that. And when I do that, you can actually save a draft and come back and do it later. It's one way to create a draft in Instagram. So super simple there. Let's see. Yeah, for Facebook, it's not a conversion. So let me show you that, Jacqueline, really fast here. On Facebook, to create a business page, you can have as many as you want. And I have a whole bunch because I've gone in and saved some preemptively. So I've created Mary Gilkerson Studio and Mary Gilkerson Artist primarily when I've been demoing, but it's also a way for me to make sure nobody else grabs those. So I'm on my personal profile right now. And if I want to make, oh no, another mass shooting. If I want to make a new page, I can go to create and page. And then it's going to walk you through the steps to get started. And we are public figures. So you can do it as a brand or you can do it as a public figure. Either one will work. So if you do it as a business or a brand, you're going to name your page, and the same thing as you would name the Instagram page, your name or your name plus art or your name plus studio. And when you go to the category, you want to select artist. Then click continue. And Lisa, for example, artist covers writer, painter, musician, whatever. So I would use something that's really general like that. So you create the page and just walk through those prompts. It's not real, doesn't take you really long at all, Jacqueline. And just get it started. You don't have to publish it right away. So you can save it as a draft so that nobody can see it until you've got things like the cover in place and you've got the about stuff up there. So you have a chance to adjust it before it goes public. So that was a great question. And again, you can create as many as you want. And if you can eventually abandon it. You can delete it if you need to. So you can delete it eventually as well. So you can create one in Instagram. You can convert a personal one in Instagram. You can create it in Facebook. You can actually convert your personal profile to a page. I wouldn't do that. And here's why I wouldn't do it on the Facebook page. People who are your friends on your personal profile on Facebook did not sign up to like your brand. And I think it's a bit spammy to make all your friends suddenly convert over to being followers on your brand page. That's not what they signed up for. So it's a different platform and it operates differently than Instagram. Instagram, the switch from personal to business is not as profound. It's just a big, big difference. Jacqueline says, how do you get your personal followers over to your business page? You get to invite people. So if I go back to my pages, I can invite people to like my page. And I think you can do, yeah, you can do it from community. So I can go to community and here, I'll show you. I'll invite Kim to like my page, or I'll invite my friend Tyrone to like my page. I will invite my follower Casey to like my page. You can't do more than a handful at a time. What that does is it sends a message to them that they've been invited to like your page. And Kim, take a screenshot of that and share it in Facebook later when it comes in. I don't do that a whole lot because I don't think that's the most effective way. But I know a lot of people who get a lot of followers that way. I think it works better to lead them back by breadcrumbs, to draw them back rather than to do the avert thing. So here is my strategy on that, Jacqueline. So I go to my recent posts and I look for one that's gotten a lot of interaction. Like, remember the ones that had a lot of interaction? Slowly it'll get there. Those memes that had interaction. Go further down here. And we're right at, okay, only paint on the day that you eat. That had 16 shares. Now, if I want that to be shared onto my page, this is how you're going to get people back to your page. Down here, let me circle this. You see this right here? Right there, I can switch back to my personal profile. And here's how I make it easy for me to tell the difference. I have a color photo on my business page. On my personal profile, I have a black and white. So whenever I see the black and white icon, I know I'm acting as my personal profile. So I'm going to act as my personal profile, and I'm going to share that post to my personal profile. I'm not even going to add any comment. I'm just going to straight up share it. Now it's been shared to my timeline. And let me erase that red mark there. From my personal profile, come on, Facebook, go home. On my personal profile, that's now popped into the timeline of my friends. And so if somebody clicks on this, it'll take them to my page. So any of my friends that click on this will get taken to my front page. And if they haven't liked my page yet, right down here will be a like button. And that will, even if they don't go to my page, invite them to like my page. But then if they click it, they'll get the invitation like button again. And any comment they make here will be on my page. So that draws them over to my page. So say they comment, then that means that anytime somebody else comments, it's going to throw it back up into their feed. That's how you get them from your profile to your page without being kind of spammy. So that is how I do that, is I lay out breadcrumbs and pull them along to get them to my page. You can invite people on Instagram as well. But if you've only got, I only have one account on Instagram. I don't even have a personal account on there anymore. But you could share back and forth between them, but you can also invite followers from one to follow the other. So hope that makes sense. Lisa says, on my Instagram page, mostly they're friends from Facebook. That's okay. Friends buy art. Friends read books. Friends are the place to start. When I first started my email list and my page, I started it with friends. So friends are absolutely where you get a beginning on that. And then you get friends of their friends and other people, so that it becomes so much more organic and natural. But start with friends. Don't feel bad about doing it. Just don't do it in a spammy way. So I really would not do too many invitations. I would way more, leave the breadcrumbs. Leave the breadcrumbs out on your personal profile by sharing a post that's not asking them to buy a painting. But leave breadcrumbs on your personal profile so that people follow back over and become interested and engaged. Let's see. So nothing wrong with them being friends at all. Anne says, I need to delete a comment of mine in Instagram and I'm having trouble with it. I posted hashtags and comments when I didn't know what I was doing. Now I need to delete them. Oh, hashtags, really, it's a good idea to put them in the comments, and you didn't do anything wrong there. If you look, segueing here a little bit out of Facebook ads, but I do Instagram hashtags two different ways. I'm trying to remember which one has a whole bunch of hashtags in there. I think this one does. So normally, oh, my mouse not working is going to be a pain again. I can't scroll that right now. But normally I put the hashtags, if I've got a whole lot of them. Here, let me share instead of on Facebook. Let me share on the iPad because I can scroll there and it will look more normal because I'm already in Instagram. So if I go to that post, I'm pretty sure I had hashtags on there. Yes, I did. So I have only one hashtag in the post itself, in the caption itself. And then I put my great big huge mound of hashtags in the first comment. And that makes it tidier and neater for people who are reading because as you saw when I first opened it, the first couple of comments will compress and people won't even see them. In the post itself, I hardly ever put the big mound of hashtags. I put particularly pertinent hashtags really thinly. Like on the post from today about creativity hacks, I put just a handful of hashtags down at the bottom that had to do with being outside. On Paint Camp, I just used the Paint Camp hashtag. So it's the only hashtag in there. On anyone where you can weave it into the actual caption, it's fine to put it in the caption then. Otherwise, I tend to put them in the first comment. Nothing wrong with doing that. If you want to edit the post, you need to do it from within Instagram's app on your smart device, either your iPad or your phone. So if I want to go in and edit something in a caption, notice how I put gratitude and plein air in the actual caption there. Then what I'm going to do is open the post and look for those three dots that are, right here. Those three dots, and you click them, give you the option to edit. Then you can edit the comment, edit the caption right there. As far as editing a comment, let me see if I have one that I made on here. Oops, clicked the wrong thing. Hold your finger down on the post and sometimes it'll give you the option to comment. Otherwise, here, I'm going to show you how to get rid of it swipe-wise. So if I post that and I don't want it on there, I'm going to swipe left and it'll get deleted. It'll delete the whole comment. It'll all go bye-bye. So that's one way to get rid of it, Anne. It's just to swipe left and it'll go away. So let me get rid of those marks. And I'm glad, Jacqueline, that you see it's much more fun. It truly is fun. I love doing that research because you're getting to know your people more. You're getting to know your industry more. You're getting to know what their likes are, where you fit into their ecosystem. So literally an ecosystem rather than just an ecosystem. So that is fantastic if you can think of it as fun and diving into it. Lisa says, mostly people want to see your face. It's so personal. I agree. People do like seeing faces. If you're a painter, people are going to want to see you and they're going to want to see your art. They definitely want to see both. They want to be able to put a face to a name. So you can only hide behind the screen for just so long. And no, I don't think I've ever told y'all to use just, one hashtag on Facebook. Yeah, Facebook doesn't like hashtags a whole lot. So putting in that huge big pile of hashtags really doesn't go over well in Facebook. It'll kill your reach. That's one reason I put those in the comments, because that's not shared to Facebook. 1 or 2 hashtags shared to Facebook is going to help. But if you put a whole big stack of 25 hashtags into Facebook, your reach will tank on that particular thing. Yeah, it does run together. And understand that you're going to retain between now and tomorrow 30% at most of what we've covered today. Just go back later and listen to the recording and take it step by step. Remember to do your homework, research those 5 pages to follow, then create some custom audiences. And then let's share those when we come back tomorrow, or share them in your Facebook group so that you can share info, because I think there's a lot of power in walking that same path together. Time for one last question before my voice gives out and I'm going to start hacking in just a second. And we've got a bunch of different groups in here, so you are in a pile of those. I would share that mainly into Painter's Business. If you're in, into Painter's Path, if you want to share it in Painter's Business, go ahead and share it in there. But we've got members from both of those groups and the Accelerator Mastermind in here today. So any one of those Facebook groups is fine to share it in, but share with others so that you can compare notes and get some other ideas. If you find a cool page to follow, share it with everybody else. Cool beans. Y'all have a great rest of the afternoon. Get lots of good sleep tonight, because we're going to get to the ad part tomorrow. Today was how to figure out that journey, the overall strategy, how to create audiences, how to find your ideal target audience, get that page set up. Tomorrow is how to create an ad for each one of those stages in the customer journey. So have a fab evening, get lots of sleep, and can't wait to talk to y'all tomorrow. Don't worry if you can't make it live, it will be recorded. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye for now.